News stories were coming in about this strange virus in Wuhan, China. It was weeks before we saw the first cases in the US. As the numbers went up each day, my curiosity got the best of me, and I started plotting the curves. Here's stories from real people all over the world and how they've responded. I'm Sally Hendrick, founder of Shout Your Cause, and this is COVID-19, The World Responds. Hey, Radna Ramakrishnan, how are you doing? What's going on? Go ahead.
Doing great, Sally. Happy to be here. Excited to have a conversation with you.
So tell me, where are you joining me from?
I live in the Bay Area in Palo Alto in California.
In California, awesome. And what is it that you do there?
I have a children's education business. We provide spring and summer camps for children. They come into our programs and they're enriched and entertained through Lego, robotics, and financial literacy, which is Money 101 programs where they learn about the stock market, savings and spending and so forth.
Oh, that's cool.
We employ teachers to run our programs because the cost of living in the Bay Area is so high, and teachers inevitably land up working in the summer. So we hire a teacher team, we train them on our curriculum, and then they go and deliver the curriculum.
So how long have you been doing this?
I'm going into season 7, which should have started next week, but COVID has other plans for us.
Yes, COVID has its own timeline, it seems. So what, since you're in California, what kind of restrictions are you still under?
So till 2 weeks ago, there was no way we could think of any summer camps.
Right.
Only the essential workers were, they could go to a very restricted daycare services.
Okay.
But there was no access. So 2 weeks ago, we are allowed to run in-person small group programs, which is 1 teacher and 12 students. So a 1:12 ratio.
Okay. And how many do you normally have in a situation like that?
You mean how many small group programs we're planning to run?
Or how many do you normally have versus how many you're going to have because of the restrictions?
I see. So this year we were scheduled to operate in 22 cities in the Bay Area.
Wow.
Which would have amounted to about 80 weeks of camp. And so with the restrictions, it looks like we'll land up offering about 12 weeks of camp. And our group sizes are typically between 30 to 32 children that come to our Lego programs. And so with the restriction, we'll only have 12 children, but we don't plan to just have 1 teacher. We'll definitely have 2 teachers because with the PPE and, all the restrictions that come along in a COVID-19 situation, we don't want to burden 1 teacher with 12 children. So
right. That makes sense. So you're going to have a 6-to-1 ratio in your camps this summer, which is that's great. That's great. So it looks like a really high-end kind of camp at this point when you move in that direction, right?
Yep.
So anyway.
So we surveyed our current families because we already have over 200 families that are registered for the summer with us. And so we surveyed them to ask them if they were interested in coming in for an in-person camp, right? Because we are absolutely in extraordinary times and we don't know what people's inclinations are and what they, feel like. And I was blown away by the interest in people wanting children to have an opportunity to come in and, have some kind of socialization and enrichment.
Okay.
And typically we're able to offer programs for children that are as young as 4 years old. But this year we've decided not to engage in the preschool market. We just want to offer programs for 6 to 11-year-old children because 6 years old, they can, they're little people, they understand, they can follow instructions. And once they get to the tween, they have an opinion and, they'll probably be telling us what to do about the PPE. So we thought the 6 to 11-year-old age range would be our target market for this year.
A little bit more control from the adult perspective, I would assume.
Yep.
So as far as that's how you're going to be managing the camp in person, but are you doing any options online as well?
Absolutely. So we have launched three online options. One is our stop motion animation curriculum, where every child has an iPad today and a tub of Lego at home. So they'll just come to the computer with their tub of Lego, their iPad. We will recommend a stop motion animation app, and our teachers will sit on the other side of the screen and you teach these children how to create a story, how to storyboard, and build a movie using their iPads.
Oh, fun. That's
This
fun.
in person, this curriculum is 18 hours long. So the children, when they come in, they leave making fantastic movies. But we're just offering it as an online option for 5 hours. But even with the 5 hours, the children are going to be so inspired that all summer long, they're just going to be making stop motion movies of each other if they have
Hmm.
siblings, of their pet and dog. And,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
going to really trigger their imagination. So we've already started getting some registrations in for the stop motion animation camp.
Okay.
We're also doing the Money 101 as an online option,
Uh-huh.
again, 5 hours. And we have a really special Lego kit that the children get to use when they come into our programs. And we've been able to take one Lego kit that has 400 Lego elements and build 27 builds out of that one box.
Okay. Now,
And
is that
so
from home as well?
no, so yeah, that is going to be from home as well.
That's
But
from home. Okay.
in order for children to participate in that, they would need to buy that Lego kit from us, and that Lego kit is made by the Lego company. And so, what we're planning to do is we've already gotten 10 registrations, and I launched it last week. Um, the
Awesome.
family the family has to buy the Lego kit, and then the children will come to the Zoom online class, and then the teacher will share with them the instructions, and so the whole
That's a
Zoom
deal.
class will build together.
Mm-hmm.
um, it took a lot of, I was struggling to give up the kit and show things online, because this is the IP of the business, this is the proprietary stuff that I have worked so hard to create, which is what makes our programs special. That it just feels like a lot to let go of the kit and then share the PDFs via screen. And but
Yeah.
there is an interest, and I really want to keep the programs going so children can have some fun memories and be enriched during this unusual times we're in.
Yes, it will
So
be the summer of 2020. How will we explain this in the future? What's going to be the story, you know?
yep, yep.
So,
So
how has this affected you, just emotionally, in your mind? How have you been able to manage this? Because that's a huge change for you. You've been doing this
yep,
for 7 years. You've got to be very entrenched in the ways that you run your camps normally. So you've had to really adjust very quickly
hmm
to try to save your business, basically.
yep, yep.
So how's
So
that been?
it's been a humongous roller coaster ride. So the moment
Hmm.
we went into shelter in place, um, there was somebody that went and wrote a 1-star review on Facebook for us, and then instant messaged us, personally messaged us and said, "I will bring down the 1-star review if you will refund us your money." And we had just gone into shelter in place. I was still wrapping my head around what was happening, but this parent was so worried about their money that they had given us for summer
Yeah.
camp that I just don't know what kind of a tactic that is. But it literally shocked me as to how the world can behave in a pandemic.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I immediately put out a page on our website, explaining what our plans were, and
Hmm.
no questions asked. If we do not run our programs, if you do not want to come to our programs, we were just going to refund your money, because every family's story is different. People are
Hmm.
laid off, they have sick parents, so
Yeah.
no questions asked. And so I simply wrote a heartfelt email to all the families that were registered with us. And I said, if you want your refund now, just reply back. If you don't want your refund, you don't need to do anything. We're happy to roll over your credit to 2021. And I was blown away by how many people were interested in, letting
Just
us keep
keeping
their
it.
money, because we still have bills to pay. We have
Yeah.
employees. I have a classroom, rent overhead.
Yeah.
We carry crazy kinds of insurance to engage in a children's education business. So I was so relieved when there were families that were willing to roll over their money into 2021.
Hmm.
really kindness of their hearts. And then
Mm-hmm.
whoever wanted a refund right away, we just refunded them. So probably the first 4 weeks, I'd say I was just moping. I was getting all my calendar alerts for all the camp fairs, because we go to
Mm-hmm.
camp fairs to sell our programs. My team was wondering what to do, and one of my team members, she was like, I don't know what's going to happen with the summer camp business. So she decided to go get another job. So it was really a literal roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
That's the
every
after.
day something new that you had to
Yep,
face and handle.
yep,
You couldn't
yep,
just ignore it. You can't go hide in a hole when you've got a
yep.
business and you've got people to communicate with and to inform and let them know what's happening. You have to step up and be strong, probably stronger than, a lot of others. So when it comes to, because you're a mom, you've got little kids at home as well, and they're in school. How were you managing switching to the homeschool situation at the same time that you were managing your business changes?
So the first thing is, because I have a classroom and one side of my classroom is an office, I have desks and chairs. So the first, immediately I told my husband, we're going to go get the chairs and a desk into the house. So the kids have like a corner.
Uh-huh.
Everybody has a comfortable chair, because I just didn't want like the dining table chairs dragged around. And,
Right, right,
and so
right.
we set up like a study station for them right away. And
Good.
my fourth grader's teacher, like day 3 of being in shelter in place, she went online, right? Because she's one of those seasoned teachers. The moment she went online, we realized that, she's an amazing teacher, but because she's retiring, her generation, she's not very tech savvy. And so it was just crazy trying to juggle fourth graders Zoom calls with
Oh
him saying,
gosh.
Mom, I don't know where to click. I can't see the teacher. And the teacher is like, shh, quiet. And then I emailed her and I said, there is a mute all button in Zoom. And she was like, what? I can actually mute my entire
Yeah,
classroom.
mute everybody, please.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think the initial days of stress were just trying to get the children situated with this online education, and the
Yeah.
school district that we're in, they were pretty ambitious in how rapidly they wanted to take stuff online. My sixth grader is far more tech savvy and, easier. And he's one of those, I like
Mm-hmm.
school, I want to learn. And my
Mm-hmm.
fourth grader, we really had to say, okay, 11 o'clock, you got to get on that Zoom call. So
Yeah.
it's just, different kind of parenting. And then
Yeah.
I have all the work related stuff happening on the side. So
Yeah.
definitely interesting times. And then the food shopping, and my husband being home all the time and working, which is something that I've never had, which is, a whole,
Everybody's all of a sudden taking up all the Wi-Fi
yeah.
space and taking up all the physical space. We had a similar situation here in that we even have an added family member, if you will, to the mix. We have 6 of us here in our apartment in downtown Nashville, and so that's been different. I'm used to being at home all day by myself.
Exactly.
We did get that situation remedied somewhat in that my husband does have a workshop and it has offices. And so the older kids who are in college went to work with him every day. And then my high
Uh,
schooler was not flourishing so well with the changes. And so we ended up sending that child to the office as well. So they all went over there where the internet's much faster and better. And then I was able to get my space back for, because I work from home and I'm used to it being quiet here, and getting a lot of distractions like that can really break your concentration when you're not
yes.
used to all that activity. And then just for somebody to ask you a simple question, where's the car key? Can I, go over here to the store? Where's your credit card? Just that sort of interruption can just make you go,
Right.
I just lost half an hour. I mean, how did that happen?
For me, one of the things that would stop me was my sixth grader plays the saxophone. And so I'd be in a phone call like this, and suddenly he'd start practicing. And I'm like, could you warn mommy that you're going to play? He's like, no, mom, I have an assignment due. And he has an iPad in front of him. He's recording himself. And I'm like,
Oh my
oh,
goodness. Yeah, that's tough.
fun
Um,
times.
that's funny. Now, didn't you set up an online camp over spring break kind of at the last minute too?
No, there wasn't enough time to do that.
Oh, so you didn't
Yeah.
do it.
I didn't do it. So it's just
Yeah.
going into starting the week of the 15th, June 15th is going to be the first set of online camps. And
Okay.
so we already have our teams hired for the summer. So I reached out to
Mm-hmm.
them to ask who was interested in teaching online camps.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a significant, everybody wants to work because that's what
Of
they do
course.
summer. So there's a lot of interest, and then there's several of them that want to work in the in-person camps, which are a little bit more tedious to do compared to conventional times because of the PPE and all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't expecting anybody to say yes, but again, there's quite a few teachers that are interested in working in-person camps. So now
Mm-hmm.
it's the logistics of figuring it all out and going live. So
So this brings up the question, how are you going to shape the future of your business knowing that you have the ability to go online, you're getting to basically beta test this live this summer, and you'll be able to expand beyond where you are? Because I know that that was one of your goals in the past, was to be able to open up um, other camps around the country that other people might have part ownership in, or whatever it is that we had talked about this before, maybe some sort of franchise information, arrangement, if you will. But knowing that you can open up this program to an online space, what do you think is going to happen?
I can't wait to see what happens to the shipping of this Lego kit, custom Lego kits to the families, and then offering this instruction online.
Uh-huh.
Because I actually collaborated with a Lego master. That's what they're called, the Lego masters.
Yeah.
And there's not very many of them in the world. And he has about 15 books that he's published on Amazon. His name is Daniel Beneditelli. And he's the one that designed the builds that the children come in and engage in the camps. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
always been my dream to take these builds to as many children as possible. And so if this exercise of shipping the Lego to the parents, to
Uh-huh.
the kids, and then being able to offer that online instruction works, then hey, I can be in Australia and India and
Wherever.
wherever in the world, because
Yeah.
there's no more limitations by geography. And
Mm-hmm.
our money curriculum will really work well online, which is why I moved our business onto Kajabi because of the course platform. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've started putting together the 1 hour curriculum. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm creating it with the vision of being able to have a teacher on the other side, but it could potentially have recorded videos, because I'm going to be recording all of these sessions that are happening now, will
Mm-hmm.
happen now via Zoom. So I
Mm-hmm.
could potentially take those and edit those and create online courses. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's exciting and scary all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm a great fan of conventional summer camps, right? Because it's very sweet to come together, make new friends. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many fun things that come out of a conventional summer camp. So
Yeah.
in my heart, I really wish that we go back to the conventional times and can have, I don't know what is conventional anymore, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yes, definitely exciting possibilities out of what
Yeah.
can come out
Well,
of
and it
this.
may even give
Fun.
an opportunity to kids who can't afford to come do your camp now,
Yeah.
if you
Yep.
have the
Yep.
online option. Because
Yep.
obviously the costs are lower when you don't have a building and all of
Yep.
the things you need to bring someone into a live space. So if they're online, yeah, I mean, I've talked with a lot of educators, a lot of people in that space over the last few weeks for this podcast. And they talk about, the adult education, the career education. You have different types of programs and continuing education credits and things that people will tend to do with local colleges. And then you
Mm-hmm.
think about the fact that, institutions all around are going to have to really change and adapt. And it
Yep.
might give a kid in Ohio or
Yep.
Tennessee or somewhere else the opportunity to take a really cool class at Harvard or at MIT or out somewhere in California at a university there. That would
Yep.
be really
Yeah.
cool. So,
I'm actually going through a happiness course with Yale on, I can't remember, Udemy or Coursera,
Yeah.
and they made several of their courses free. And it's really cool. It's really, helping me with my mindset in this
Uh-huh.
pandemic, parenting from home, trying to juggle a business. And
Uh-huh.
it really puts happiness in perspective. So you're right. I wouldn't have thought about looking up a course if not for the online ability and the entire mode that our brains have switched to right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and talking about cost, the East Bay in the Bay Area, the San Francisco and then east of the
Uh-huh.
Bay, some of the cities are not as affluent as the remainder of the Silicon Valley. So there I'm actually offering these programs for a at cost, where the children will just pay for the Lego kit and then be able to come to the online
Oh,
class.
nice.
And so I'm curious to see how those families are going to behave, that that demographic, will they be interested in paying and buying a Lego kit for a child to have some fun?
Yeah.
So only time will tell. I'll report back to you.
Now, from a money management standpoint, I'm curious, are you creating a discount on that particular camp and then writing that off on your taxes? Is that something that is available to you to do?
I don't believe so. No, no,
Oh,
even
really?
scholarships, yeah, you cannot.
You
So,
can't? Okay.
no. So what I did was, typically, we do offer, like, discounts, because people like discounts, right? Everybody likes some kind of
Yeah.
savings, but I just made a decision that we're just not going to discount anything. So for the first 3 years in business, I said, it's okay. I'm not going to discount anything. This is what the services are
Mm-hmm.
worth. Whoever's interested can come. And then I got onto the market, and I realized that it's just the nature of this business, where people want a deal, right? Be it $10 or $25, right? No
Mm-hmm.
matter how affluent the family is. So again, this summer I'm reverting back to the price right, and not be hassled with refunds. If it's going to be fewer registrations because people are not getting that refund, it's okay, because it's an experiment. We're all in a giant human
Yeah,
experiment.
we
So
are in many,
yeah,
many
so
ways.
I just said, don't deal with discounts and the discount code and like all of the
All
headaches.
that mess. Yeah.
Yeah, priced it right, and that's it. So whoever comes comes. If they don't want to come, it's okay. There's enough other people to go around. So that's been my philosophy this year.
Well, I love how you have made all of these adjustments and adapted to the situation, and you've still got a beautiful smile on your face. And
I
I
love
can't wait
talking to
to,
you.
yeah, I can't wait to find out more as this rolls out and see how this human experiment and business experiment and everything that we're doing right now is going to come about. So, anything
I
else
just
you'd like to add?
Yes. So when the children come to our programs, at the end of the week, we have them create what is called a story card. And so they basically draw and write out what they loved about camp. And when
Oh,
I think about all the things I'm going to miss this summer about not having, the actual live camps, it's going to be those story cards, because they are just absolute, delight. So looking into that child's mind and seeing what they loved about camp. And so I've actually rolled out this entire program. I'm going to reach out to all our email subscribers and ask them to have their child make a postcard about what they love about summer camp, or what they're going to miss about summer camp in these epic times we are in.
yeah.
And so I wanted to mention that. So if you have any listener, it's not limited to children that have come to our programs. It's the concept of summer camp. What is it that you loved, or what is it that you're going to miss? And I just wanted to share the cards as they come in on
Yeah.
our website, on Sundays, or pick a date, and so we can just have a catalog of what these children miss or love from this generation.
I love that because when they put it in their own words, it's really funny. It's entertaining, it's heartfelt, and it's so honest. We did a project
Yes.
like that for school one year where we did like a photo album of the class, and it was in addition to, the normal yearbook. This was just a particular type of thing where we had like baby pictures and, whatever else for all of the kindergartners that year. And then we had a list of about 20 questions, and we randomly asked 3 or 4 questions to every child to see how they would answer it. And it was the funniest thing ever. And we published it in the book. You know, there was a whole page of like, you know, superhero kind of questions, or what do your mom and dad do for a living? Because, you know, they were in kindergarten, you know, you never knew what was going to come out of their mouth, all kinds of things like that. So I can see that being a very fun project.
It's probably my best resource for how to improve the curriculum, because it's straight from the horse's mouth, right? They tell you what they loved and what they didn't, even more than, you know, surveying the teachers and asking them for ideas on what better we could do with the curriculum.
Yeah.
I literally get a stack of like story cards at the end of the season, and I just love looking at those story cards. So I hope, you know, people will engage via mail and get to keep those story cards live.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ratna, for meeting with me. And I look forward to hearing an update from you later in the summer. Okay.
Thank you for having me. Take care, Sally. I'll stay in touch. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. Subscribe to this podcast to hear all our episodes. Go to shoutyourcause.com to our podcast page for information on our guests and notes from this show.